My name is Stephanie Smallhouse, and I'm the Executive Director for the Arizona Natural Resource Conservation District State Association. We're conservation districts. We are tasked with managing and planning for the natural resources in the state of Arizona. We are basically given that right through the Arizona Constitution state statute. That's our mission and what we're tasked with. I started looking into coordination a couple of years ago. I was looking for a way for our districts, knowing that they are empowered to be involved as a local entity of government with Forest Service planning, with plans through the BLM, management actions being taken by the BLM. I just didn't know exactly how to go about it. And so I heard about the coordination process, and I went to a couple of the meetings and the conferences, learned about it. It's very overwhelming when you first begin hearing about all of this legal talk and all of this planning that you have to do and research. But I have to say that in working with the conservation districts, these are just regular folks. They're elected by the landowners within the district. They don't have a lot of experience with anything like coordination, but they've been phenomenal in the process. Everybody started in Arizona about 2 years ago. And since that time, we have coordinated on with the Fish and Wildlife Service on a proposed listing. We are coordinating with the Bureau of Land Management on a proposed action for a major utility transmission line. And we have several other districts that are starting coordination in other efforts. And they've been given the confidence through the training materials from American Stewards on how to go about the process so that it is less intimidating. It's a lot of work. They do a lot of planning meetings. We spend a lot of time with our committees and getting ready for the meeting, but it has paid off extremely well in that we have been able to get the point across to the federal agencies that the local government has a voice and it needs to be listened to. Natural resource conservation districts are the most basic local government entity that you can have really in the United States, because you're just dealing with landowners. You're dealing with the people that have the most direct impact as a result of federal actions. And those people know the resources better than anyone else. They know the economics of their local communities better than anyone else. And they've been elected to represent those landowners in their voice in the process of federal actions. And so we've been very successful with that. We go about it very systematically as far as updating their plans, passing resolutions so that they're all on board, they all understand what it is they're trying to accomplish. But then after that, everybody just kind of jumps in with both feet, and they're very excited about it because it gives them hope. It gives them the opportunity to think that for the first time in a long time, they're able to have a voice in the process. They're not a member of the public submitting a comment with other 1,000 people. They're taken legitimately as a local unit of government. And I think that could apply to any government, not just NRCDs. It also applies to county governments, city governments. All of those local governments at one point or another have felt like they didn't have a voice and they didn't have hope that they would be able to impact a federal decision. And coordination has changed that by quite a bit. It's given them the opportunity to provide information to the agencies that they probably either didn't have beforehand or they didn't care to look for. And it gives the agency an accountability. We've really found that with the Fish and Wildlife Service. In the meetings, when we're presenting information to them, we didn't know what the outcome was going to be from the year and a half that we spent meeting with them. We had little victories with each meeting, and I think that's what you have to look for. Don't look for a slam shut, slam dunk type of thing, because it's not going to happen. You're going to spend a lot of time doing this. But at the end of the process, we found that they felt accountable to the information that we had provided to them, and that information came out in their notice ultimately for the listing. With the Fish and Wildlife Service, we were working with a proposed listing for a tortoise, and one of the major threats from the petitioners was that livestock grazing had a negative impact on the tortoise. And through the involvement of the NRCD, which is just 5 landowners, basically, they have no special training, they just know the land and they know the resources. And through their efforts, volunteer efforts, they were able to basically show and prove to the Fish and Wildlife Service that they had the best available information. and that information was that livestock grazing does not affect the tortoise in a negative way. And even though the petitioners felt that that was the major threat to the tortoise and the reason for listing, when the listing notice came out, that was not listed as a threat at all in the United States. So we felt that was our victory. We had worked hard for a year and a half, and we really felt like we had accomplished something in that. And it was a lot of hours, but it was for the big picture to benefit basically ranching in Arizona. And I think everybody in the district's very proud of that effort.